Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Belmont Park here on Saturday. It is the 6th of May, 2023. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Belmont, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. I think you know already to go check out my Kentucky Derby and 2000 Guineas preview. But it's a shame we have really good racing at Kentucky today, because today's card at Belmont is one of the best cards in New York as a season, and I think it's just going to it's getting overshadowed by the Derby card at Churchill. But you have some great stakes races. It's finally going to be a warm Saturday afternoon, and Sunday should be even better. Great card Sunday, by the way. But it's some good races. We're going to look at stakes races 8, 9, and 10. Let's play a pick 3 connecting these races. So let's get to the 8th race, which is the Elusive Quality Stakes, going for a $150,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of 9 horses going to the Widener Turf Course. The distance of ground of 1,400 meters or 7 furlongs on the Widener Turf Course. Portable rails are up at 18 feet. My top selection here, I'm going to take the 5-horse Thin White Duke. Let's go 5-1-3-8 in the superfecta. 5-1-3-8 super. Top selection, the 5-horse Thin White Duke. This 5-year-old mare by Dominus here. 5-year-old gelding by Dominus here. David Donk trains. Jorge Vargas Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 13th of April at Aqueduct. 6 furlongs out of turf course, an optional 80 claimer. A race that could have been a stakes race, a grade 3 or something like this today. He finished 5th by 3.5 lengths that day. He was a little bit wide. He was just a little bit flat. He needed the race off the bench. Coming back to Belmont, he's 4-0 on this turf course, but his form wasn't as good as it was, going into the fall and into the winter this year. Coming back to Belmont with some decent form, I think he could see a strong pace and win. Closers do well here at the on the Widener Turf Course here at Belmont, and I think he get a good trip. 2 back here in the Aqueduct Turf Championship at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs out of turf course, 25th of November. He finished 3rd by 1/4 lengths. He just stalked most of the race, a little bit wide. He was closing up well late. I think he wanted probably 7 furlongs that day, but he ran his heart out there. And then up 6-2 at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs on the 27th of October. He won by a half length, closing up from a horrible beginning from a wide post draw. He settled well, he quickened up nicely, came home with a 93 buyer. Not the best of his career, but he got the job done there. He won the Lucky Coin at Saratoga over the summer very nicely at 4.5 to 1. Had a massive third behind Golden Pal and Drew Vaylor in the Troy at Saratoga, and a very nice place at Saratoga in a lounge race on opening weekend. Most recent race here at Belmont came in over a mile in a lounge race where he finished 4th by 3.5 lengths, and he just kind of weakened out of it. They were trying him routing, which he just didn't want to do. He wants to sprint. 7 furlong sprint on the turf course here at at Belmont. That's what he should do better with. At 5 to 1, I'm going to use him in this pick 3. The 1-horse Anaconda for Joe Sharp and Kendrick Carmouche. It wouldn't surprise me if he steals it on the front end. Most recently in the Danger Hour at Aqueduct, 1 mile on a firm inner turf course. He finished 2nd by a nose that day, and he just kind of stalked. He needed something more late, but he ran his heart out there. Prior to that, in the Big Daddy at Turfway, 6 furlongs on the Tapeta. He finished 4th by a length that day, and he just kind of, was flat that day. He wasn't getting to the front end. And then at Santanito, 1 mile on the Thunder Road, he finished 9th by 9.75 lengths that day. Very wide, just not really showing up. He had a massive place at 17 to 1 in last year's Aqueduct Turf Championship. I would like to see this horse a little bit more forwardly paced. If he could do it, he could run a good race. 9 to 5 buyers up scratch. Let's use him here. But to recap my selection for the 8th from Belmont, it's the Elusive Quality. Let's take the 5-horse Thin White Duke. Give kudos to the 1-horse Anaconda. 5-1-3-8 super. 5-1 in your multi-race. To the 9th event now from Belmont. It is the Fort Marcy Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $200,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of, 9 horses entered in this year's Fort Marcy, but 8 will probably go to the inner turf course. The distance of ground of about 1,800 meters or about 1 mile and 1/8 on the Belmont inner turf course. Portable rails are far out at 35 feet. My top selection, I'm going to take the 2-horse King Cause. 2-6-3-5 super for me. 2-6-3-5 super. Top selection, 2-horse King Cause. This 8-year-old gelding by Creative Cause. Mike Maker trains. Kendrick Carmouche gets the mount. Something to keep in mind, the inner turf course at Belmont plays towards speed, routing, especially when the rails are out, and low post draws. just keep that in mind. I think this horse has some speed if he wants to use it. He didn't show it last time out, though, where he didn't break in the Kentucky Cup Classic at Turfway, mile and 8th on the 25th of March. He finished third by 6.5 lengths. Not the best beginnings. Wolfie Dagenost had his own way in the front end and really ran a terrific race. This horse just, couldn't get up late. Prior to that, he faced very tough competition in the Pegasus Turf Cup at Gulfstream, mile and 8th on the 28th of January. He finished 6th by 2 3/4 lengths. From the 12th hole, he tried leaving. He stalked the pace, but then he just kind of got overtaken in that all-out finish. Weekend out of it. Wasn't his day to win. And then the Fort Lauderdale at Gulfstream over the mile and 8th. He finished 9th by 7 3/4 lengths that day. A little bit of a trouble trip on that narrow turf course. It wasn't his day. His most recent race here in New York wasn't bad at all. That came on the 9th of October at Aqueduct, the mile and 8th in the Knickerbocker. He won by 2 lengths and he set pedestrian fractions, 114 and 4 3/4, won it for him. Winning by 2 lengths at 98 Beyer. The old man showed some great form there. And then a handicap at Kentucky Downs over the mile. He finished second by a half length. He stalked. He just couldn't get there late, but he ran his heart out. If he could set some pedestrian fractions, he could win. He ran this race last year. Last year, Belmont's Kentucky Derby weekend here in New York was an absolutely sludgy, rainy weekend from Friday until basically early Sunday morning. Sunday, I remember being beautiful. But, that Saturday program, he ran last year's Fort Marcy where he finished 6th by 43 1/4 lengths that day. And Lay Emperor, who's running, I believe, back today in this one, or no, he's not. Or did he run yesterday in the Sheepshead Bay? I can't remember now. But he had everything his own way in the front, and this horse just wasn't handling the soft ground. He should see fast ground today, which he should like. I think at 6-1, he's a very live horse. I think his second likeliest winner is the 6-horse City Man. This 6-year-old horse by Mucho Macho Man, this state bred. Christophe Clement trains. Trevor McCarthy gets the mounts. And I like when we have the big races in Kentucky at Pimlico for the Preakness, that the local guys get to step up for these stakes races. So you get the Dylan Davises, the McCarthys getting these really good live mounts, I think, on classy horses. So it's like basically the Aqueduct winner guys are stepping up to get some good horses here. But City Man most recently ran in the Pegasus World Cup Turf at Gulfstream on the 8th on the 20th of January, and he finished 12th by 5 lengths that day. And he had a very wide poster, which caused him. He bumped, he was wide, and he just didn't show up. It wasn't the day to win. Back to New York. He should be in a better spot. He freaked in the Fort Lauderdale Gulfstream mile and 8th on New Year's Eve. He won by 1.5 lengths. He stalked. He had a little bumpy trip that day, but when he quickened up on the inside, he got the job done. A great ride by Joel that day. And then prior to that, in the Mohawk at Aqueduct, mile 16th on the 30th of October, winning by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He had a bit of a tough trip early on, but when he quickened up late, he got the job done. And then won to A.T. Cole at Aqueduct over the mile and 8th in September, winning by 3/4 length again. He really, ran his heart out there. This is not his favorite turf course in New York, but he's, since the last time he came here, he's really become a better horse, running some great triple-digit Beyers. Best race of his life came at Saratoga opening weekend last year in the Forbidden Apple, winning by 2 3/4 lengths. Stupidly wide trip that day, but that turn of foot was electric. Winning that easily came home with a 104 Beyer. Coming here training well, I'll give him a shot on this pick 3 ticket. But to recount my selection for the 9th from Belmont, it is the Fort Marcy. Let's take the 2-horse King Cause. Give kudos to the 6-horse City Man. 2-6-3-5 Super. Let's go 2-6 in your multi-race. Let's head over to the co-featured 10th race now from Belmont, which is the Ruffian Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $200,000 purse race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field here of, a field of 6 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the Belmont main track. Going to take the 6-horse Gerrymander as a top selection. Let's go 6-5-3-2 in the superfecta. 6-5-3-2 super. Top selection 6-horse Gerrymander. 4-year-old fillet into the mischief. Chad Brown trains. Dylan Davis gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in the Distaff Handicap at Aqueduct. 7 furlongs on the 7th of April. Off the bench, he finished 5th by 7.5 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked and just was flat that day. Off the bench, he needed the race. Refreshing here, not the world's toughest grade 2. I think he should get a good trip from the outside. I think he can win. 2 back in the Cotillion at Parks, mile 16, 24th of September. He finished 8th by 25 1/4 lengths that day, and he just never got into it. He weakened out of it. It was just a horrible race that day. And then prior to that, in the Alabama at Saratoga over the mile and 1/4, he finished 5th by 11 1/4 lengths that day. He just stalked, and again, never really showed up that day. I thought the Mother Goose before that at Belmont of the mile 16th. That victory was quite nicely done. He only had 3 other rivals, but he won by 3. And from a tracking trip, he really took off clear. Ran in the 8 bells before that, where he really didn't show up, but won the attempted in November 2021 over this course and distance very, very nicely. Come back to Belmont, where she likes running. Ran her career best by here at 98 in last year's Mother Goose. At 8-1, I'm going to use her. I think the 5 horse Kathleen O is your second Lake Elise winner for Shogun McGahee and Kendrick Carmouche, excuse me. Most recently in the top flight over the mile in the 8th, he finished second by 2.5 lengths, was closing up well, but didn't break so well, which probably cost her, but she ran her heart out that day. She's a closer here, so she's going to have to see a strong pace to run with, making her Belmont debut. 2 back in the Royal Delta, she finished second by 1.75 lengths. Classy Edition really ran a terrific race. Again, this horse didn't break so well, was very wide, but she was gaining that day. And then in late November in the Comley and Aqueduct, she finished second by a half length. Again, close but no cigar. She's been the bridesmaid recently, not the bride. The last time she was the bride was in last year's Gulfstream Park Oaks, where she won by 2.75 lengths, really taking off clear. She has hidden form, she wants to use it, but she just hasn't gotten there late. I think her running style is not. Closers can win here at Belmont on the main track, but it is hard. She's gonna have to see a strong pace. But at 6-5, I'll use her in this pick 3 here. But to recap my selections for the 10th from Belmont, it is the Ruffian. Let's take the 6 horse Gerrymander. Give kudos to the 5 horse Kathleen O. 6-5, 3-2 Super. Let's go 6-5 in your multi-race to end off this pick 3. So good luck to all. Remember to go check out my Kentucky Derby and 2000 Guineas preview, and follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Good luck, everybody.